Alright, how you guys doing today? This is Mr. Muscarella coming at you, and we're going to take a look at translations. That's right. This is sometimes known as sliding an image. So before we get into that, we're just going to take a look at this image of me here, and we're just going to slide it over here to this spot. Or maybe sometimes we slide it down here to this spot. Or maybe we'll slide it down here. Very often in geometry, you'll take an image and you're going to slide it somewhere across the coordinate plane. So there might be an XY axis that divides things up. But what I want you to pay attention to is that at no time did the shape of my face ever change. It stayed the same. All the proportions were exactly the same. And that's all sliding an image or a translation really is. So let's take a look at a few examples here to practice what it means to translate or slide an image. Now for this piece, what we're going to do is we're going to write an XY rule that describes our translation. So there's a couple things we have to pay attention to notation-wise here. The first thing that I want you to notice on here is that your image that you're going to start with is always going to be the one that does not have the little tick marks by each one of the letters. Notice in our second image down here, in each one of the letters here, we've got a little tick mark above each one of our letters. So we're not going to start with that figure. That's going to be where we end up. So we're going to start with the first figure that I circled, and we're going to figure out how in the world did we move. Well, in order to do that, we're going to have to be able to count. Now you can pick any of these vertices that you want, whether you want to start with D, M, or N. It's totally your call. But what you're going to have to do is pay attention to this piece right here, X, Y. In a coordinate pair, X refers to moving left and right, and Y refers to moving up and down. So that's going to be one of the things that we're going to have to pay attention to when we translate a figure here. Now this is going to get very simple, and we're just going to make sure that we count. And I'm going to pick point N right here. And what I want to do is figure out how do I move it all the way over here to N prime, this piece all the way over here. So in order to make that move, I'm going to have to be able to count. Now I'm going to count across first, and I'm going to start with my original N, and I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that distance, since I moved 5 to the left, that is going to be -5. Now I've got to move down to get to N prime. So again, I'm going to start from this spot right here, and I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And since I went down 5, that again is going to be -5. So the XY rule that describes this translation is -5. I moved 5 left on the X's, and I moved 5 down on the Y's, so that's going to give me -5, -5. Let's take a look at example 2. Again, it doesn't matter which vertice I start with, whether it's A or T or V. I'm going to start out with V. Now if I'm moving from V to V prime, again I'm going to go left and right first, and then up or down second. So I have to count 1, 2, 3, 4 spaces. Now since I'm moving 4 to the right, this time my translation for my X coordinates are going to be 4. Now I move down 1, so that's going to be -1. So the XY rule for this translation is 4, -1. And I can verify that by going to any of my other vertices. Like if I went to point A, 1, 2, 3, 4 to the right. So again, that's 4, but then I go down 1, so that would be -1. That translation holds true for any point that is part of my original image. Now, if you think you got this, go ahead and try example 3 and example 4 on your own. Go ahead and hit pause, and then come back and see if you got the correct answer when you're done. So how'd you do on that? Hopefully for number 3, you got the translation 3, -7, and on number 4, you got -3, -3. So that's it for this video on translating images or sliding images. Thanks for watching, and you guys have a great day. I'll catch up with you soon. Peace.